Hey everyone, so I love using third-party apps to run advanced automations on buttons and switches, but I don't like how they create those long random scenes in the Applehome app. But today, I'm going to show you a little trick that I found on how to avoid that. So at my house, I love using buttons and switches to run automations, especially here in the studio. I can turn on the light, I can open my shades using the single, the double press, or the long press. But the conditions that you can get in the home app are very limited. Now, I'm sure you can technically convert into a shortcut to do more advanced things, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of that. The shortcut app just feels a little clunky when it comes to smart home stuff. Sometimes my automations are slow, and it adds that extra step that I'd rather avoid. Now, I don't know what to call this, if this is a trick or a bug, but I don't think I've seen anybody talk about this. So what I've been doing, like a lot of people that want to get more out of their smart home, is using those third-party apps like the Home Plus or Controller for HomeKit, because it gives you more control and conditions. But here's the catch. When you create automations using those apps, it also creates these weird random name scenes in your home app. And it gets messy fast. Like you're trying to organize your smart home and now it just feels super cluttered. But here's the cool part. I found a way to trigger advanced automation with conditions in those apps and get this without creating any extra scenes, at least not visible in the home app. So there's no clutter, no weird name, just a clean, powerful automation built right in there in your Apple Home app. I'm gonna show you exactly how I did this, and if you use switches or buttons and third-party app in your smart home, you're definitely gonna wanna check this out. Let's get into it. All right, so hopefully this doesn't get too complicated, but on a button like this, you have a single press, double press, and a long press, right? But whenever you use one of the actions as a single press, let's say, for example, I have it here that from this time is gonna open the shades if it's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You pretty much already use that single press. But if you go into a third-party app, let's say like Home Plus, and then you go into automation and you use that trigger for that single press again, because I want to use that. I don't want to use the double press. Go to button and do a single press. And I'm not even going to add a condition. I just want to see what happens when I do that. So I'm going to go back to the studio and I'm going to say that I want to open the shades at that. We're going to save it and we're just going to call it demo. Okay, so what happens now? It creates that. It creates that weird scene with all those letters and numbers, but it pretty much represents that automation that we just created. But here's the interesting part. When you go back to the button, there's no more action there for that open shade at 100% that I had previously. So I think that is a bug, and I really want to see how far we can take this, because now what that means is I can go into single press and I can say I want to turn on my light now. I want to open it and I want to turn it on at 100%. So it just disappears. But if I go back into the Home Plus app, and just to make it easy, I go to all the actions. Here are all three automations that we created. This is the first one that was there before. This is the demo one. This is the one that I just created right now. And you can see that single press and this one as well. And then you can play around with conditions. So one single press can do multiple things, similar to what we could do with shortcuts. But now I can have automations running by using the single press as long as it meets the conditions that I want. And I think that is super powerful. I don't know if this is a bug, but definitely something that we should all look into it if you're using third-party apps and Apple Home with switches or buttons like these. I hope you enjoy this and maybe learn this new trick. And like I said earlier, I don't know if this is a bug or what, but I haven't come across anybody talking about this. I think this can enable a lot of useful automation out of those buttons and switches that we have laying around in our house. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.